My name is Monique Bernal. This is a documentary at my best ability to talk about 2020. So we first started off January with rumors of World War II because of Trump. We already started off the year wrong. Then there was the Australian bushfires.
Thousands continuing to shelter in evacuation centres. The terrifying scale of Australia's bushfire disaster is beginning to emerge.
People don't really understand it until you actually see it coming at you in a wall of flame.
Then we became aware of COVID-19 here in the United States.
Breaking news tonight, the coronavirus outbreak declared a global pandemic, and now
the stock market crashed due to the pandemic.
During this public health crisis, major retailers are also going dark. Bars and restaurants could be next.
The Black Lives Matter protests were to happen everywhere around the whole world.
Their voices heard in a powerful display of unity against police brutality and systemic racism. Thousands filled the streets in solidarity with the protests in the U.S. In the U.S., protesters stretching into a second weekend, the wave of outrage sweeping across the country after the death of George Floyd under the knee of a white officer.
I'm actually from Mississippi, and so it's a lot of racial injustices there. Like, this isn't new for me. I have been discriminated against my entire life. So, like, I'm used to the Trayvon Martins. I'm used to the Ahmaud Arbery's. So I'm just tired of it. I'm tired of the narratives. I'm tired of the hashtags. How many hashtags will we have? We just want to live. You know, that's why I'm here today. I'm tired of being tired.
Tell the truth and stop lying. All of these white voices oversee my black voice any day. So until the moment comes where we can talk to your parents and your parents know that black lives do matter, until that come a factor in the White House household, change will not come. Let me tell y'all, and I don't mean no disrespect, we love all you all for coming out and standing and being a part of it. But guess what? In the morning, we still wake up black, and we still wake up with a police This cannot be a one-time thing. We cannot continue to allow the people to oppress African American community. They don't invest in us. They don't show us the resources. You are convincing, not me. I can't talk to your parents. I can't talk to your grandparents. At some point, you gotta be the voice for the black people in your household. And it has to start today.
Then there's the West Coast wildfires.
It's a disastrous new normal. Catastrophic fires, once contained to one season, now a harrowing year-round battle.
We gotta go.
A major factor, climate change.
There are tens of millions of people that are choking on climate change right now as a function of the smoke that these fires are producing.
Today, nearly 80% of the homes that were destroyed here have been or are being rebuilt. And while the community is coming back, the pain still lingers.
Here's what my family and friends thought about 2020. What is your name?
Dominique Bernal.
How are you affected during quarantine?
People died, social anxiety, everything. I felt like I was going insane at first during quarantine. Couldn't go anywhere. Felt like the world was ending. And then people got sick, some people died. And I don't know, it was just mentally hard.
Did staying together benefit you?
Staying together, like at home.
During quarantine?
I mean, there were days that it felt good, like to be with my family, but there was days where I wanted to see my friends, wanted to leave the house.
Why is 2020 important?
A lot happened, so there's like a lot of history in it that will go on through the years because so much happened.
What is your saddest moment during 2020?
I feel like during May and like June was where I started going to funerals started getting social anxiety, panic attacks. There was like riots, so it scared me, and I was just mentally not stable at all.
What is your happiest moment of 2020?
I met my boyfriend. That was probably the highlight. It was a hard year, so that was the best thing.
How did 2020 change you?
I feel like now I'm not as open. Like I'm back to how I used to be when I was younger, and I don't really like talk much to people because of being like so isolated from the world.
What is one thing that you will always remember from 2020?
The pandemic.
What is COVID-19?
It's a virus that was spread around the whole world and caused a pandemic to happen, and we had to quarantine. It's a really strong strand of COVID.
How are you affected during quarantine?
I couldn't have a graduation, that had to be canceled. So I had to do it virtually. I had to be in my living room doing it. I couldn't finish the year in person. I had to do online for my last year of college. People were just stuck at home. We were all quarantined. I couldn't go out.
What is your saddest moment during 2020?
Not being able to, finding out that I couldn't cross the stage. I was really excited to do that with my friends, say goodbye to them before they go to their home countries, have my parents see me cross the stage, all of that. I was devastated.
What is your happiest moment of 2020?
Meeting my boyfriend.
Do you know people who got COVID-19?
Yes. I had family members and friends that got COVID.
Who were you before 2020?
I want to say I'm the same person.
So did you change during 2020?
I don't think I've changed much. I guess I view the world differently. Your life isn't promised. I think that's the one thing that has changed.
What is one thing that you will always remember from 2020?
Maybe the pandemic.
How are you affected during quarantine?
Not affect economic with money, not, but on the family we affect because we stay in houses 24 hours for 3 months. So everybody was stressed.
Quedándose juntos en la casa, ¿te benefició?
Quedándonos juntos, la familia. Yo creo que sí. Yo creo que sí nos benefició porque había más tiempo para estar en familia, pero a su vez era más estresante porque parecía una cárcel estar en la casa, como una cárcel porque no podía salir. Los 3 primeros meses fueron difíciles para todo el mundo.
What is your saddest moment during 2020?
Pensaba que toda la economía iba a colapsar, pensaba que mucha gente iba a fallecer por el virus.
2020 es el año más triste que nos ha tocado vivir, pero también no hay que tomarlo solo triste, sino que también hay que tomarlo como algo agradable, porque fue un aprendizaje para sabernos valorar como seres humanos.
¿Qué es algo que te va a quedar contigo de 2020?
Lo que me va a quedar del 2020, si hablamos en tristeza, los seres queridos que partieron por el virus que hubo. Esto de quedarnos en la casa nos afectó un poco en el sentido de que no puedes salir a ningún lado, de que te puso como una forma de una barrera alrededor de uno, de que no podía ni uno salir, o sea, lo entendió como un poco mal, porque sí podíamos salir, pero no podíamos salir, o sea, algo que tienes que estar en tu casa, esa es la forma como uno, como hasta que te deprime, te pone mal, pero uno trató de sobrellevar y salir adelante.
¿Por qué es 2020 importante?
El 2020 importante sería por el aprendizaje en el sentido de que hablo en el sentido general, que uno valoró a las personas, a los seres queridos, que valoró extrañar un abrazo de un familiar y a su vez también aprendió a que no debamos discutir, pelear en el sentido de las bullas también que hubieron o el racismo, sino que todos somos seres humanos y debemos estar juntos.
¿Qué es el más triste momento de 2020?
Lo más triste del 2020 es haber perdido seres muy, muy queridos, muy allegados, que perdieron la vida por esta circunstancia.
¿Qué es el más feliz momento de 2020?
Lo más feliz en el sentido es el haber estado juntos como familia, habernos estado protegiendo entre nosotros y no solo nosotros, sino también a nuestras familias. No habernos reunido para no contaminarnos, amistades.
¿Tú eres una diferente persona de 2020?
Yo pienso que sí he cambiado un poco, pero ¿en qué sentido se puede haber cambiado? En el sentido de que uno valora y extraña a sus seres queridos, eso de haber podido compartir con ellos como antes. Por el coronavirus, lamentablemente, el mejor momento que yo lo perdí y que ya no va a volver, en el sentido cuando se graduó mi hija, mi primera hija, Kimberly, que ella se graduó y lamentablemente lo tuvieron que hacer por internet, algo así, por la televisión. No tuvo su graduación, no pudimos ir y compartir.
Ready? What is your name?
Alejandro.
What is 2020 to you?
Well, it's many things. I've done a lot of things, so I feel like it's a figure out year. That's what it is for me.
How were you affected during quarantine?
I really wasn't. I felt like I didn't really go out as much, so, because, I don't know, I wasn't really the type of person to go out a lot, but summer really changed it all for me. So most of the time I would just stay in my room, play guitar, and just play video games.
Did staying indoors benefit you?
It didn't, because it made me realize how I missed human contact, like how I missed to socialize with people, and how I am, missing to talk to certain people and stuff. I have opinions about that, so.
Why is 2020 important?
I feel like it's important because I feel like it's like so much happened, it was chaotic. People didn't really know how to stay inside. People weren't used to this whole 6 feet apart and be sanitary and stuff like that. And it honestly screwed up a lot of private businesses.
What is your saddest moment during 2020?
I don't really know.
What is your happiest moment of 2020?
It was when I was so basically I was coming home from my dad, and I was going on the way. I was biking, and there was a sunset, and it was since I live in Portage Park, there's an intersection at the 6 corners, and I rode to it, and I just like the view, and I just can't get that out of my head while I was playing music. So that would be my happiest moment, because I had good relationships with everyone, you know, peace and everything like that.
Do you know people who got COVID-19?
Yeah.
What did you miss out on because of COVID-19?
Honestly, nothing. I wasn't really affected by like it a lot. Oh, if anything, I just missed out on like playing my season for volleyball, and that was really it. Luckily, my wrestling season ended, so before that, so I'm good.
What is one thing that you will always remember from 2020?
Probably the fact that I wasn't able to interact or be with people in a public setting for like a good year.
How are you affected during quarantine?
How am I affected? Well, at first, before they required masks, it was pretty scary going to a public place like a store and seeing everyone with masks. It kind of gave me a little bit of anxiety, and it kind of made me a little bit scared because the government didn't seem to know what really was going on or have control over it, and the numbers just kept rising and rising. And I was mostly just scared for my friends and my family catching it because a lot of people ended up in the hospital in ventilators, and they died, and their family couldn't even see them. So I think just a lot of anxiety. BLM, Black Lives Matter, the protests were. BLM has been around for like more than just May. I thought it started in May after the death of George Floyd, but I found out that it's been around for a while. It was created by an African American woman. BLM is just basically a movement letting people know that African American lives matter and that what happened to George Floyd shouldn't happen to anyone else. And even though it says it's Black Lives Matter, the message is that the country, the government, people in power can't abuse of their power and can't mistreat people of color, regardless if they did something in the past, because white people don't receive the same treatment as people of color. So Black Lives Matter movement, the protests, they were scary at first, knowing that people were willing to do whatever it took to get the attention from the media and from the government. And even if that meant protesting and like going against the government, they would do it because they were tired of how they were being treated, which is obviously fair. People of color have gone through so much over the years, and all they want is equality, and all they want is just to be able to be pulled over and not be scared that they'll get shot, or have an interaction with the police or the government and not be scared that that'll be the last day that they see their family. What would stick out about 2020 is the fact that it kind of brought out people's true colors. There's a lot of influencers and people who just traveled and didn't care.
What is your saddest moment during 2020?
Saddest moment? Honestly, there hasn't been anything bad enough or sad enough to happen to me. Fortunately, there's been other people that have lost parents and families, sisters and brothers. They lost them either to the protesting, to the virus, to hate crimes maybe. The saddest thing probably for me was just seeing all that, because when Biden was against Trump for president, a lot of white people said that if Biden won, white people would go out and they would riot and they would kill people of color and people in the LGBTQ plus community. So that was the saddest thing, seeing that someone like Biden has better intentions than Trump. That's what people were upset about. The Trump supporters, they were protesting something so meaningless. That's what made them upset. And they went to the Capitol and people died and the police didn't do anything because they were Trump supporters and because you know, it's like Trump says, they're fine people. So the sad part would be, you know, just the division between people.
What is your happiest moment of 2020?
The happiest moment was when Biden won, because when I heard that white people, when Trump supporters were willing to riot if Biden won, that was sad to me, but made me realize how much I appreciate going, like, having been able to go to school and have been able to see my friends personally at school. It made me appreciate that more, because now that I don't have it, I wish I did. I wish I hadn't taken it for granted.
I hope you guys enjoyed this documentary. I didn't put everybody that I put in the clip because the video was getting too long. But what I realized while I was doing this was that everyone like divided into like a group, but it was only like 2 groups. But I thought that was really cool that people who live in the same household believed in like the same things or said things similarly, and everyone pretty much agreed with each other. Only some certain topics, because obviously everybody has their own opinions on certain things, was a little bit different than one another. But I hope you guys like this documentary. If you're here, you've obviously watched the whole thing, so I'm sorry for wasting your time.
Yeah.